Yeah, I don't know if you remember, Dom, but we duoed back then when I was a mid laner. We duoed like 2 games.
I think we actually duoed 6. We duoed 6
6?
and we won every single one of them.
So why'd we stop?
Welcome back to Ultimate List, the show where LoL esports pros react to some of their greatest plays voted for by you guys, the fans. Today I have with me multi-time LCS champion now and Bard enjoyer Busio. Happy to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
The one thing I was going to ask you is, do you think that they'll have any Azir support highlights from your first game?
I mean, maybe lowlights, yeah.
Okay, all right. We'll see if we can sneak one of those in. All right, let's get into the plays. All right, so the first play that we have for you actually comes from that split. The Azir split is your debut split. You're playing with a bunch of LCS legends, and this was one of your, Rakan plays that you became famous for later on in your career, but this was one of your first flanks on Rakan, so let's watch this one.
I remember this one because Tenacity had some super funny comms after it. I think he was like, Zoomers, we up, or something. it was really good.
I like the patience.
Oh yeah, this one? Yeah, I'm just hiding. Yeah, this is just a very slow situation. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I guess he just face checked me, so then I decided to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it works out because, like, now, at this point in my career, I probably wouldn't play like that because on Rakan, a flank like that is usually unnecessary. When you have flash, you can access anyone no matter what with no counterplay. But it's definitely the surprise factor to it. So in this situation, it worked out pretty well. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it was like when this Sejuani was just walking right next to you, I would not have the patience to just let him stand there. Like if that's me, I'm just instantly going, what were you waiting for in that moment? You just wanted your team to be like ready?
I probably just wanted their backline to go in more because, I'm flanking to reach their backline more easily, and maybe we were lacking a cooldown, or I'm just waiting for their backline to go in more. And also, like, Sejuani's unkillable no matter what, so like, why would I ever CC that guy?
Yeah, just like start off the ult, get the movement speed and then dive. But yeah, no, it's a good play. Yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about this split because obviously you came into a team with a bunch of legends. I mean, Closer was somebody who had been dominating LCS for like a while at this point, considered one of the best junglers. Bjergsen, one of the goats of the region. You're playing with the 2 goats of the region, literally, in Bjergsen and Doublelift. So what was it like playing on this team as a rookie?
I mean, it was definitely an exciting team to play on. And if I remember correctly, the first split was like mainly just Enchanter meta. I believe it was like Lucian Nami, Zeri Yuumi, Sivir Yuumi, Lulu paired with those champs as well. Yeah, I was just being an Enchanter and there wasn't much like playmaking. And then maybe a patch hit and then more like melee or engage supports were viable. So then I was like kind of relearning the game again and just learning my new like support responsibilities. So definitely that split was like just a lot of like introduction to the support role at a higher level. And I was around a lot of experienced players. So I was getting a lot of feedback and I just had to take it in.
All right, the second play comes from game 3 of that quarterfinals best of 5 versus Gen G. This was super legendary best of 5. This is the most hope that North American fans felt, maybe in their entire lives at this point. So watching this play, walk us through what was going on. This is an early game dive situation. I think Bwipo gets involved as well, but you guys end up coming out on top. So let's play the play and see what happens.
Well, this one we're in a rather tough situation. I believe we overtraded in our early lane. Like, as you can see, we have no potions and we're getting dove already. And then Bwipo somehow is proxying the wave, owning and helping us. But actually right now, even after he TP'd in, we're losing the situation. So basically we're cooked. But then Paige shifts in because, I don't know, he made a mistake. And then it just got too juicy and then I flash W them. And it was disaster for the enemies because they were in such a winning position. But they just got too excited.
What exactly did you do to mind control Paige to shift in here? Because like the game was completely won if he doesn't shift forward. So
yeah,
did you type something in chat, like...
He probably just saw Urgot on the screen and wasn't really sure about the capabilities of that champion. So then, it's too much visual stimulus and maybe he got confused.
I mean, as somebody who's played against a lot of different like Asian teams at this point, how OP is playing different champs against these teams? Because it seems like that was a strategy all along. I mean, I remember earlier on in this Worlds was the infamous Doran not knowing how Nunu works moment. Yeah. Where he's just teleporting right in front of a Nunu. He just doesn't realize that Nunu has a root in its kit because he's like never seen the champion before because he plays in like a real region and not North American solo queue with Pentalist. So what is it like? What is it like to abuse these new champs? Is this stuff that you're always looking for?
I mean, I think it's more of a meme than like actually true. Like they're playing so much solo queue, you know, their queue times are so short, and they have a lot of one tricks in the region. Like I'm sure there's an Urgot one trick on the Korean server that's high elo. Like I'm sure of it. Sure. Okay, maybe there's not a Nunu one trick, so we have that going for us.
There's probably not an Azir support one trick.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. I should have whipped it out more. But
Yep.
probably they're just used to scrimming like the same matchups over and over again. So like in a competitive game, they probably have less experience versus these champs. But like I'm sure they know everything about the kit. Like I remember Owner picked Mundo, and like there were Reddit threads and whatnot saying that he was like first time or something like that. And like that must be exaggerated. Like I'm sure Owner knows what Mundo's kit does. Like, you know, you're a pro player, you play every day, you know what every champion does. So like
I think he was overselling it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, the next play that we have for you is your infamous 5-man Nico ult from your series against VKS. This was from the winner bracket, so the first time you played them with Gakkos in the lineup. And yeah, let's see the play. Let's see how you somehow hit everyone with a Nico ult.
Yeah, usually with Nico, like to get a 5-man, it's just dependent on the enemies like taking space and marking flanks and whatnot, but if they're just clumped, it's just too OP. You know, that's the main strength of Nico.
Yeah.
You just have very hard to react to engage, and here they weren't really taking any space and they were in a choke, so it was quite free and it was way too juicy, you know. The champ's OP if this happens.
All right, the next play that we have for you comes from your winner bracket match, or your upper bracket match against TL in the summer playoffs. And this was a very infamous play because in this play you're playing Assassin Bard essentially. So let's go through it, and you can tell us why you had to make such a play with this type of game state.
This one, like, it's a very funny play because, you know, I'm like running into the backline, killing the Ziggs with a large shutdown. But to me so far, like, I haven't done anything special. You know, I just like saw the 1 HP carry, and of course I'm gonna go kill him. But I think the context of it is what makes it even funnier. Like right now, like I was also hiding, and then Quad was in a 1v1, and then I helped out a little bit. And now like Masu gets flashed on, and I'm still behind them. So it's just it's a funny play, but again, the context is what makes it funnier because there's no way we're supposed to win this game. I forgot what happened, but like the fact that the game's still going on at 38 minutes is unbelievable.
It's just APA Ziggs. This is like every APA Ziggs game for the entire year. We played a bunch of them into his Ziggs just like this, where it's like, you know, no matter if you're winning or losing, it somehow just ends up with you having inhibitors down and them just like sieging your Nexus.
I see. So it's a Ziggs thing, yeah. I guess. The clip was just kind of like a 4-parter, you know, like one by one, I was just killing people or helping out my teammates to kill people. So it's just a nice clip to watch because it's so long, you know, it's just not one spell or like one combo. It's just the whole like flow of it is quite cool.
It's respectable. I mean, at this point, when I was watching on stream, I like thought you guys had won the game for sure, because it was like this was like their timer to win, and then after this it just felt like you guys had just recovered so much gold that you were fine. When I was watching this play, the thing that jumped out to me first was the fact that you exhaust the Ziggs and he almost one-shots you anyway through the exhaust. Like I thought that was like crazy, you know. Like I assumed that when you exhausted him, you'd be decently high HP, but you literally almost get one shot. You have to W yourself to survive. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, he was way too broken. I didn't think he'd do that much damage to exhaust either, but like rewatching, I probably could have held my flash to react to his Q when I'm exiting the portal, but I just like insta flash auto queued to try to kill him. But I could be more patient.
So the next play we have for you is the play that we discussed a little bit earlier. This to me is your most famous play, especially because it comes from NA beating EU, which is a classic. I guess, maybe you'll be on the other side of it soon enough. Maybe you won't enjoy it as much in the next year or something. But yeah, this was a really great Bard play. And I think that this is really when people started viewing your Bard as like extremely lethal was during this MSI tournament. So walk us through this play and tell us how you're feeling at the time.
What happened here? Like, I'm recalling, they're jumping me, almost getting one shot, but I guess I'm not one shot. Then I stun them, my team's killing them.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing the classic support play. You're trying to chase their tempo. Vi just ulted, he's 1 HP, Kassante's trying to base, so if you die, it's still worth it.
Yeah, and I guess the hype part is just me surviving on like 1 HP multiple times, and then I ulted myself and Aurora. It'd be even better if I ulted Aurora and not myself. And then I just like really confidently dodge the right side and dodge the Q, and it's just a funny play because they were really trying to kill me, and it was probably a mistake on their part. Like the Aurora really wanted to kill me, and he used all his cooldowns, his flash, he's chasing into the portal just to kill the support. So I just got insane value there. Just by, I guess, being Bard, you know, when you see a Bard running around and you can kill him, you really want to kill him because, like, he's so slippery. That's the only opportunity you're gonna get. It's all a mental thing.
I mean, it was a huge play. I wanted to ask you about your Bard in general, because this wasn't a play that I remember, or this wasn't a champion that I remember you playing a ton of, like early on in the year, like winter and like spring. Like, I mean, you were playing the champ, but I never viewed you as like the Bard guy, right? Like, I think at this time, even in North America, most people considered like Phil to be the Bard guy, Vulcan to be the Bard guy, because he was like playing it early on, and then you just ended up like taking that over. You know, you're like, now Bard is my champion. So when did you start like playing this champion a lot, or when did you start thinking it was super good? Was it because of the fact that around this time Keria was picking it a ton in LCK? They were like early on drafting it. It was game one Bard. Like, when did you like really become the Bard guy in your mind?
I mean, in the fans' mind, it's definitely plays like this, just the exciting highlights that got posted on Twitter, you know. That's when, to the community, I became the Bard guy. But like, for myself, it's kind of weird, because even when the fans saw me as the Bard guy, I didn't really view myself as a Bard guy, because I never really like held that champ close to myself. Ever since I role swapped, I was always playing some Bard in solo queue, and I'd have a high win rate, but I didn't really have many games on him. Like, I wasn't really spamming him. I felt comfortable on him without many games, and then maybe we just picked it in scrims once or twice, and we're like, the game feels pretty easy when Boostio's playing Bard. It could also be because of how our team functioned. You know, like, Inspired is really into farming and making sure he's strong in the game, and Bard is quite self-sufficient because I can get vision by myself because I'm quite slippery. I'm also faster on the map, so I can gank top and then recall and cover bot really fast. So I think it just fit our team really well, so naturally it just complemented our playstyle. So then I probably put more effort in solo queue and in practice tool, just getting more comfortable and consistent with the mechanics. And after that, I would just, you know, coaches, if it's a good spot, just pick it for me. I'll figure it out. And also something that I didn't mention about the Bard conversation is I also felt very confident playing Bard because at the time, everybody was playing Spellbook on Bard, but occasionally I was playing Electrocute with like Scorch Celerity. And I was just being very, very menacing early game. Quad would always be like, please pick Boostio Electronic Bard. He meant Electrocute, but he just said Electronic. So
Electronic Bard. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it was super funny, and it just became a meme on our team. And unless they had like a Nautilus or like a champ I couldn't ego on, I'd just go Electrocute just because I was stronger when I was roaming, because I'd actually be a damage threat. I'd be stronger in lane. And like in an early objective fight, I actually did some damage, so I could ego on them, play near the wall, get my Electrocute off, and then portal out. So yeah, it just became a meme on our team, and Quad gave me a lot of confidence.
Okay, so Quad is the one that can be credited with the Electronic Bard. Got it.
Yes.
So normally we only have 5 plays for our guests, but today we have a bit of a nostalgic highlight, a bonus play for you to go over. So this is a stream highlight actually sent in by an anonymous LCS legend, we'll call it. And this is when you used to play mid lane back in the day. I think it's what, season 10, maybe even season 9. So yeah, let's go through the play and talk to us about this Akali play from you.
Yeah, this play is back in the olden days, and
I'll do the Pobelter still.
I remember on stream in queue, I was watching like a Synapse video.
This game's so easy. I'm setting that to Pobelter.
I was watching a Synapse video, and Pobelter stole the Baron just like that. And then immediately in the next game, I'm playing Akali, and I got in the exact same situation. So, you know, I'm really building my brand and being an entertaining streamer by saying it's the Pobelter, you know? So yeah, I was just being a good streamer. As you saw, I had like the complete gamer posture, like fully locked in, like face inside the monitor. And maybe I need to bring that back. And yeah, I don't know if you remember, Dom, but we duoed back then when I was a mid laner. We duoed like 2 games.
Yep. I think we actually duoed 6. We duoed 6 and we won every single one of them.
So why'd we stop?
All right, Boostio, thank you so much for walking down memory lane with us, going back even to the early days before you were a pro player, your solo queue days as a mid laner, and, you know, seeing all the plays you've made over your career. Before we get out of here, is there anything that you would like to say to your fans?
I would say thank you for the support, and I appreciate that you guys enjoy my gameplay. You know, that's good, because at the end of the day, you know, we're playing League of Legends and competing in it to be entertaining. So I'm glad you guys find me entertaining, and I hope to make more clips for you in the future.